Hi everyone, and welcome to this edition of Fedmail on this Friday afternoon. Shabbat Shalom to you. Hope you are doing well. Of course, the big news and our focus right now is on Israel's surprise attack last night on Iran. So it was announced over 60 days ago that President Trump had said that negotiations should take precedence over military action. There had been the ongoing nuclear talks with Iran over the last several weeks, different rounds of talking about enrichment capabilities and the particulars of the Iranian nuclear program. There was a lot of rejection from the Iranian side. Negotiators from the United States kept going back to the table trying to figure out the points that might make this work. All the while, Israel was ratcheting up the rhetoric around Iran and discussing just how important it was to address this nuclear issue. In the meantime, the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, which oversees the monitoring of nuclear sites around the world, and of course in Iran, had noted that there had been a significant escalation in the nuclear program in Iran, and for the first time in 20 years made this pronouncement. It was somewhat of a red alert. That, coupled with Iranian stubbornness in the negotiating process, led Israel to determine that it was time to strike. So last night, a fleet, a number of Israeli Air Force aircraft, I've read somewhere between 200 and 300, took off from Israel, hit bases around Iran, Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps sites, nuclear facilities, and took out a number of leaders, military leaders, atomic scientists, and others who would have been responsible for the Iranian nuclear program. Now, there's a few things to keep in mind. First of all, the Iranian air defenses had been neutralized back in a prior mission that Israel conducted successfully several months ago. You'll no doubt remember that because it was pretty big news at the time. And also there was a Mossad operation where on the ground in Iran, there were drones and other munitions smuggled in that were then part of this operation. So in the end, a number of sites were hit around the country, as well as the assassination, if you will, of several of the leaders, again, related to both the military, the government, and the nuclear program. That's all as it has been reported now. Things, of course, could change and are in flux. So in Israel, there were sirens that went off last night just as this attack was happening, basically to put the country on alert. It wasn't because of an incoming attack from Iran. Now, Iran has responded. I believe that it was something like 100 drones were intercepted coming from Iran. Again, that information is also all in flux. It's unknown what the specifics are. And I know that as of this recording, which is taking place this afternoon, Israelis had been told to remain very close to shelters. And in the days preceding this attack, U.S. staff members of the State Department and others who were on the ground in Israel were told to not leave the confines of Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, or Beersheba, which indicated that something might be imminent. Now, there was also a lot of subterfuge in this process. Some interference was being run between the United States and Israel, telling the world, making it appear as though Trump was really pressuring Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel to not strike Iran, let diplomacy play its course. And it appears that had all been done as a factor to kind of manipulate the climate to make it appear as though this wouldn't happen. And also, Netanyahu's son is supposed to be married on Monday, so it was expected that things would be quiet. So this all came as a great surprise, very successful, precision, incredibly complex and sophisticated attack. It ranks up there with the pager mission that took out a number of Hezbollah leaders at the end of August, I think it was last year. So this was certainly a moment when Israelis were feeling as though their military had really exhibited the strength that it has in the region, and certainly a mark of its sophisticated capabilities. So we'll continue to follow. Last night, I was part of a discussion with Middle East Forum. We've actually had speakers in our community from Middle East Forum, and I was on a call and I asked what the implications were for Jewish communities around the world and in the United States. Now, we know Iran is the number one state sponsor of terror. And that's not just as it relates to Israel, but also Iran is, of course, responsible for terror attacks. The one that comes to mind most readily is the building the Jewish Community Center in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, back in the 90s. There was also a bus attack in Bulgaria, and other soft targets have been hit around the world at various times. And with Israel more or less being able to fully neutralize Iran's capabilities, God willing, by taking out the air defenses and having a sophisticated Iron Dome and those anti-missile, anti-drone systems, will Iran now pivot and look at soft targets around the world? And that's a major concern. Homeland Security, in coordination with Secure Communities Network, the FBI, and other law enforcement officials, did put out a bulletin to ensure that Jewish communities are taking the necessary security measures, have protocols in place, and all of our institutions were alerted to that bulletin and have been told to make sure that they continue to follow good security practices and good security measures. Of course, been in touch with Mark Scheer, and our own local law enforcement are very well aware of this. In fact, just yesterday, Mark Scheer and I had a meeting with the FBI, the head of the FBI department based here in Worcester, to discuss all of these threats. And we were talking about Iran, not knowing, of course, that this attack was as imminent as it was. But thankfully, we've got Mark's good guidance. We've got great cooperation and partnership from our law enforcement, and our security protocols are taken very seriously by our congregation. So with that said, let's continue to hope for everyone's safety. Let's hope things are quiet. Let's hope that this was a very successful operation by the IDF, and that our brothers and sisters remain safe wherever they are around the world. And let's get the hostages home as well. I don't know how this plays into the ongoing hostage talks, but we will see how that plays out too. I can't imagine that that there won't be some repercussion and implication as it relates to those being held in captivity. So we certainly pray for them and hope for their continued, hope for their safety, and continue to pray that they are released and returned home soon. Locally, there was a major protest at Worcester City Hall on Tuesday evening during a city council meeting. Now, the protest was related to the ICE raids that took place in Worcester back a few weeks ago on Eureka Street. Very high-profile situation where the Worcester Police Force was called in to assist with an arrest. City Councilor Haji ended up being charged in the wake of that. You can follow up on those details. I don't need to report it, but there was a protest against these ICE raids and against the Worcester PDs and Worcester personnel being involved in them during City Council. And a number of the protesters had their faces covered with Palestinian keffiyehs. They waved Palestinian flags. So it's certainly evident that there is a cohort among the activist group here that continues to prioritize this focus on pro-Palestinian and anti-Israel, the spirit of those protests. Sorry, I couldn't articulate that better. Of course, we're aware that at any moment things could pivot and change. So that too remains a fluid situation that local law enforcement are certainly aware of. So I want to thank all of you who are involved in our security efforts, of course, and of course everyone who supports the work of Jewish Federation. Thank you so much. We continue to advocate for and hope for a time of peace and prosperity for all, and hopefully we see that in our day, and we have a better world. We leave behind a better world for our children, undoubtedly. Coming up in the community are a few really nice events, and what better time to get together than now? So we've got a Sheer Joy concert on the 15th, Jewish Heritage Day on the 17th. That's one you don't want to miss. We're going to be at the ballpark, Polar Park, great venue. Come on out, enjoy a night with the community. Then we have a great cooking class with Sylvia. Now, if you know Sylvia, she caters a lot of the community events, does an incredible job, delicious food. June 22nd, don't miss that. And happy to announce and welcome our Shlicha Aviv coming from Israel, God willing, August 18th. And I know that our summer Shlichim, our summer emissaries who work at the JCC are plan to head to the United States in just a few days, so hopefully their flight will take off. Of course, as of now, the flights out of Ben Gurion is shut down for the moment, so hopefully we'll see that reopening soon. They'll be able to get here and have a great summer with them. I also want to let you know I met with Dave Shimkus today from Worcester JCC. We talked a lot about the capital campaign, and if you aren't a part of that, you've got to be a part of it. We need to support the efforts to revitalize and to address the needs of the JCC in terms of all the systems that need replacing. And it is an older building, so it needs it. And we talked about security too. Talked about all sorts of things. So look forward to continuing our partnership with the JCC. And we look forward to seeing you at all of these community events. And this is a very long Fedmail, 10 minutes and something like 40 seconds. So with that, I wish you a good Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much for all you do for our community. Pray for peace, pray for goodness, pray for the good guys to win, pray to get our hostages home. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.